Just a step back real quick to the thing about Fuentes on Tucker's show. I agree with Dave. Maybe you're surprised that we agree on so much, but I agree with Dave about Tucker having every right to talk to whoever he wants to. I also agree that when you censor people and you try to suppress their voices, in many cases, you only make them louder. I mean, look what happened with the Babylon Bee. I think we're more popular today than ever. We have a bigger following than ever because there were all these efforts to censor and suppress our voice. It backfired pretty spectacularly. Drag the bad ideas out into the sunlight, engage with them, confront them. And this is my criticism of the interview with Nick Fuentes, is that there wasn't confrontation. Nick has said terrible things. Nick has said things like, he wants to, when we get into power, all these atheists and these heretics and these perfidious Jews, they deserve the death penalty. They need to be executed. He's glorified Hitler and said that he's really cool, really effing cool, actually.
Something that Nick Fuentes is, though, is, and I don't agree with any of that stuff. I can't even confirm or deny that he's actually directly said that stuff. What I will say is that if you've ever watched a Nick Fuentes stream or a Nick Fuentes video, you understand that there's an underlying layer of comedy, or what he considers to be comedy. And the thing that has really gotten terrible with mainstream media sources like this and like Babylon Bee and you pick your thing, right, is that they always take things as if they're not contextual. So I think we can all say that everyone has made a joke about Hitler. Everybody has made a joke about Mexicans. I'm Mexican. Everybody has made these jokes. The reason why these people don't like it is because it is a disenfranchised or what's it called? A group of people that are too vulnerable. And that's the reason why people don't like it. So the other thing is that Nick is a master marketer. He's a master of saying things and communicating in a way that is outlandish and people won't like it. And he knows that. And that's part of what fuels the fire. Again, that's the naughtiness of the stream of the videos of Nick Fuentes. So when you tell people, don't listen to Nick Fuentes or let's cancel this guy, and he's saying these crazy things, you're like, well, fuck, dude, I want to hear more. What else does he have to say? So his viewership goes up. It's not even necessarily that people agree with him so much. It could be more so hate watching, whatever. The fact of the matter is that you are making him more popular, whether it be good or bad, because you're telling them no. He's saying these crazy things because he knows it's going to get a rise, and he gets more viewership. That's just how consumer media goes now. I listen to shit that I hate all the time, but also because I want to sparse out, like he's saying, the bad ideas. He's in the. I got a cool stream deck, so now I can go boom, 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 boom.
Conversation with Tucker, he talked about his admiration for Stalin, who's responsible for tens of millions of deaths. And so,
Quick to interject on that. If you watch the Tucker interview when he talks about Stalin, I don't buy it. I don't believe that Nick was serious about that. I think that was one of those inflammatory things, yet again, that he said because he knows that it's going to get a rise out of people.
To gloss over all of that, to not challenge it and confront it. Tucker is so good. He was so good when he would have Democrats on, leftists, liberals that he disagreed with. He would mock them. He'd make them look foolish. He would ridicule and refute their ideas. And they stopped coming back because they were so embarrassed because he made them look so foolish. I'd like to see Tucker do that with bad ideas on the right. Why isn't he doing that? The only reasonable conclusion.
Tucker does that all the time with bad ideas on the right. That's a huge problem with this Seth Dillon guy. He's a cuck. But Tucker does that absolutely every single time. He had one of our senators, one of the conservative senators, on and talked to him about his bad ideas, or at least what he perceived to be his bad ideas.
That you can draw for not challenging Nick and more.
Tucker is actually probably one of the toughest guys for conservatives at this moment. He even criticized Donald Trump, the president, openly.
Substantive ways is that he doesn't disagree with him.
Right. I mean, I've had a few big toe-to-toes with Tucker, and he is, he's normally comes at you like a firecracker. And what was noticeable about the Fuentes one was he had a very different tone with him. And like you say, Seth, you can take that as tacit agreement with what Fuentes is saying, if you don't vigorously take it on and challenge it in the moment.
What Nick is trying to do is become more mainstream. Sorry, Nick is trying to become more mainstream.
Right.
He's moderating a little bit. He's
Right.
trying to distinguish himself from people who are further right than he is. And Tucker's helping him with that. Why? You want to ask that question. If we're asking questions, just asking questions, I want to know why Tucker is trying to mainstream Nick Fuentes instead of saying, look, you have radical, terrible ideas that have no part in the conservative movement. You're collectivist in your ideology. You're racist. You're bigoted in terrible ways. You've said horrible, disgusting things. I don't want you in my movement. Why isn't that Tucker's posture towards someone like Nick Fuentes?
That's such an interesting thing to say, because I think that something that everyone is craving so much right now is like real conversation, real dialect, real people who have real opinions, and then talking through the opinions and why they have them. And this guy is basically just calling for, Seth Dillon is basically just calling for, bring him in, tell him to shut the fuck up and move on. Joe Rogan says this thing often, that the best way to combat bad ideas is with better ideas. The only way that you can actually do that is by having civil discourse with somebody, bringing them in, having the conversation with them, and not making them feel like you're bombarding them. What Tucker actually did, if you watch it, was a really smooth way of questioning Nick Fuentes about his beliefs, why he believes them, and he did give him subtle pushback. He gave him pushback, enough pushback for you to actually understand where Nick Fuentes comes from. And I think that a lot of people don't actually know the story of Nick Fuentes and why he thinks the way that he thinks. And that's a really important piece of the story too, because if you don't know why somebody thinks something, the history from him working with Ben Shapiro and basically Ben pushing him under the rug and hating him and all these different, basically hating him and trying to break him down and all these different things, then you'll never really get to understand the psychology behind why Nick actually talks the way that he does.